Good morning, and welcome to Unity of Walnut Creek. We have Rickie Byars in the house. She's going to start us off with a song you might be familiar to you. This is a call and response kind of song. So, some of the words will be up there, some of them might be different. Don't freak out. Follow me for the response.
I have to see her face. So I say, oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. And you say, let me love in a holy, holy way. Got it? Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Let me love in a
Holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me know that love is all around me.
Oh, let me know that love is all around.
Oh, let me know that love is all around me.
Oh, let me know that
Love is all around. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way.
Let me live in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me learn from all the ways I fall.
Let me learn from all the ways I fall.
Oh, let me know that love will heal us all.
Let me know that love will heal us all.
Oh, let me walk each day a little wiser.
Let me walk each day a little wiser.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy,
David Neal. David Neal. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way.
Let me serve
In a holy, holy way. Oh, let me share the good that's overflowing.
Let me share the good that's overflowing.
Oh, let me care for those around the
Let
world.
me care for those around the world.
Oh, let my steps reveal the path of peace.
Let my steps reveal the path of peace.
Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. In a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way.
Let me love in a holy.
Holy, in a holy, holy way. Good morning, everybody. Oh, yeah. It's a joy to be here at Unity of Walnut Creek.
Yeah.
I got some friends in the audience also who sing a little bit. Karen, I'm going to need you to take a verse of this. Okay. Well, not yet, but now, yeah, you need to get up. Is there a male singer in the house that can have one?
I'll take one.
You gonna take one?
Sure. What's
You
the
take
lyric?
one. Who said that? Oh, come on, I need you.
Yeah.
I need you.
Oh,
Come on. Okay, we shaking it up. This is Karen Norman. She's part of the Vintage Choir Club, formerly known as the Agape International Choir. Holy, holy way. Okay, so I'm gonna do this song called "My God Is So Good to Me." So you can let's talk amongst yourselves.
And your part is to sing, God is so good. Da 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 da. God is so good. Da 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 da. God is so good. My God is so good to me.
All right, so we need to practice, or you got it. Is this a smart group? Okay. We're gonna see. Okay. This is a great group. So I got this great band. Are we ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Put your hands together. Got up this morning singing.
God is so good.
I got up this morning singing.
God is so good.
I got up this morning singing. Hey, my God is so good to me. I am feeling good down in my soul, yeah. Oh, I'm feeling good down in my soul, yeah. I am feeling good down in my soul. Praise God, and my God is so good to me.
Well, in my time of jubilation, right now, you know, in my time of jubilation,
God is so good.
well, in my time of jubilation, what? God is so good.
God is so good to me.
Let me tell you now, in my time of trouble, I know.
God is so good.
Oh yeah, now in my time of trouble, I know.
God is so good.
That's right. In my time of trouble, I know. God is so good.
My God is so good to me.
well, in that time of celebration.
God is so good.
Yes, well, in that time of celebration.
God is so good.
Well, in that time of
Sing it.
celebration.
God is so good.
Yeah, yeah.
My God is so good to me. Oh, when the day is over, I'm singing.
God is so good.
Oh, when my day is over, I'm singing.
God is so good.
Oh, when my day is over, I'm singing.
God is so good.
Oh, my God is so good to me. Now we're gonna freeze.
Well, if we didn't have more for you, woo! So if we didn't have some more for you, I'd say you guys could go home right now. We got it, Rickie. We got it. Oh my goodness, you guys came on the right Sunday. Okay, there's never a wrong one, but this is definitely the right one. So good morning and welcome to Unity of Walnut Creek. You're here on a perfect day, a perfect Sunday, and right where you're supposed to be. My name is Linda Stevens, and it's my joy and my honor to be a part of your service this morning. So I'm going to ask you to turn off your cell phones so that we can enjoy this sacred time together. Yes. Have you guys figured out that Rickie Byars is with us this morning? Oh, my goodness. She's accompanied by Dusty and Dan. And and David Neal. Hi, David. Yeah, I love that guitar playing stuff. That is so good. Okay, now there's a couple of you in here that do not know who Rickie Byars is, okay? I know it, but just in case there's a couple of people in here that don't know, I'm going to tell you. Rickie Byars is one of the most acclaimed and beloved singer-songwriters in the genre of inspirational New Thought music. Through a 3-decade career as a solo artist and founder-director of the world-renowned Agape International Choir, her deeply soulful, heartfelt songs have struck a powerful chord in the audience all around the globe. She has built an impressive platform. That didn't say that, I just stuck that in there. She has built an impressive following with everyone from residents the president of LA Skid Row all the way to South Africa and the Archbishop Desmond Tutu and His Holiness the Dalai Lama, all of whom she has had the very prestigious honor to perform for. Rickie has amassed such impressive and a catalog of compositions, writing and co-writing hundreds, literally hundreds, of original songs and chants. Her message is still being delivered by many of the singers and choirs that have performed her material in New Thought churches and spiritual centers all over the country. And I know a lot of you have been here at Unity for many years, and a lot of the songs that we have sung and the chants we have done are attributed to Rickie. So going way, way back in time, Unity has been has been so touched by Rickie's work. So please join with me in turning and welcoming Rickie Byars. Okay, now can you come inside? Can you take that deep cleansing breath? Center yourself as we begin our service inward. Unity is a positive path for spiritual living. We have a mission at Unity, and that mission is, in a loving community, we empower spiritual growth by modeling and teaching universal spiritual principles. We have a statement of faith that we say together each week. Please join me. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. Thank you. Now, as we welcome our newcomers, I invite our ushers to come forward. If you're here with us for the first time, or if you've been gone a long time and you've just come home, we have a packet of information. If you would raise your hand, our ushers would be thrilled to give you one. If you'd rather pick up this packet out in our bookstore or out on our welcome table, that's okay too. And there's a connection card in that packet, and if you'll fill it out and take it to our bookstore, we have a welcome gift for you. Now, for everyone else, there is a connection card in the seat pocket in front of you. And if you take that and fill it out, let us know that you're here today. If you have any comments or any questions, please use that form for that purpose. Now it's time for us to greet our neighbors. So I know this is a special day, but please try just to greet the people around you, okay? Thank you.
I'm thankful, so grateful. I am one in the spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. Said I'm thankful, so grateful. I am one in the spirit all around me. I'm thankful, grateful, so grateful. Trust in God. I surrender. I am one in the spirit all around. Surrender. Trust in God. I surrender. I am one in the spirit all around me. Surrender. Trust in God. Said I'm thankful and I'm grateful. I am one in the spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. Trust in God. Said I trust in God. Oh, I trust in God. I trust in God.
You know, we always have so much going on here at Unity, so I'm going to bring a few things to your attention. Please join us today on the patio after service for a munch and mingle. Enjoy some light refreshments provided by our Connections team while connecting with old and new friends. And while you're on the patio checking out your friends, check out our Lost and Found table. Did you like how I slid that right in? You know, people are always leaving something at Unity, and when we lose it, somebody finds it, and they put it in the Lost and Found department, and ever so often, we bring them all out, and we encourage you to go out there and see if there's something you might have even forgotten about that you lost, and it might be here. Thank you. Now, today at 2 o'clock, there will be a screening of a very powerful film that's called The Mask You Live In. Now, it is sponsored by our men's group, which is very appropriate, but it affects all of us in our lives because each and every one of us know a young man that could use this kind of information. The documentary follows young boys and men as they struggle to stay in tune to themselves while negotiating America's narrow definition of masculinity. The mask you live in ultimately illustrates how we as a society can raise healthier generation of boys and young men. So if you guys have not seen this, I highly encourage you personally to go see it. I was extremely touched by it, and we just have no idea what a struggle it is in our society for young men and boys to grow up and the expectations of them. Now, experience the power of Qigong next Sunday, June the 9th. Together, we'll do some simple movements while sitting that will help open the body to the experience of the qi or life force energy. These movements help quiet the mind, balance the emotions, relax the body, and open the heart to the presence of unconditional love. Now, would you like to tap into your heart's intelligence and power? Mark, yes, I heard a yay. An amen. Thank you, David. Okay, mark your calendars for the Resilient Heart Workshop on June 22nd. This is a full-day workshop that will teach us how to transform stressful feelings, accelerate creativity and decision-making, and deepen our emotional and intuitive experience. We'll receive a wonderful heart math tools and a delicious lunch, too. Please see your bulletin or our website for more information about these and other events at our center. Thanks.
So we welcome you to get prepared for a time of meditation, and David Peterson, one of our prayer chaplains, will begin us off with one of his own original poems, followed by a little more music and guided meditation.
This is called Between the Notes. Open up to salvation. Humble at the scoreboard. Let it happen. It's only numbers. It's only flame. The space in between. The bowl hums here. You become brave and triumphant, dancing in the silence, hiding in the trees, waltzing through the wilderness. Strong is the weak. Solid is the vulnerable. Bodies champion, bodies powerful. Joy supersedes pain, brave with life, breaking silence, starting to speak, learning to live.
Learning to live. Pour yourself in me. Pour yourself into my heart. Whoa, whoa. Wonderful Spirit. Pour yourself in me. Pour yourself into my heart. Whoa. Spirit, pour your joy, pour your joy. Whoa, whoa, wonderful. Pour your joy in me. pour yourself into my heart. Whoa, whoa, wonderful Spirit. Pour yourself in me. Pour yourself into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit. Whoa, whoa, wonderful Spirit. Whoa, whoa, wonderful Spirit.
And that infinite presence fills up our whole beings, shining bright through our hearts, open and flowing Spirit right there from within us, pouring out through our bodies, touching any area of our body where there might be discomfort or tension. Opening, opening, opening as the Spirit pours through us and from us, becomes us, is us. We begin to rest in that pouring point, that space in which the Spirit comes in and out, the Spirit that is the core. You might find that center in your heart or your solar plexus, maybe even in your third eye. Find a resting place within. Point of abundance in which Spirit comes through you in this moment. It might be the brilliant divine light of God through the mind, or a sense of overflowing love through the heart. Perhaps there's a groundedness, a confidence, power, the third chakra, the solar plexus area. Wherever you find that space, see if you can focus there a bit. Feel it. Spirit pours in, pours out, pours through. More and more and more of that presence is known in us. Our awareness increases and expands. Bodies begin to feel soft. Our shoulders are dropping and our bellies are relaxing. We are entering that silence, that deep place of observing and feeling. Abundant Spirit. We rest there now for a moment, as if we are at the headwaters of sacred waters, pure and flowing, the living waters of Spirit. Wherever you have found a place to rest your attention, to focus, see and feel how spirit, once the attention is there, expands. Your awareness is filled up to overflowing. It's pressed down, shaken together, overflowing into your lap, the abundant, palpable love of spirit. It's loving now every organ of your body, touching every cell. There is a radiance, a light that fills your whole being. And it keeps on coming, keeps on pouring through. Let it pour into your crown and come up through the soles of your feet. Let spirit pour through your heart. Pour yourself in me, Spirit. And so it is, continuing, feeling that presence, allowing. Let it take over.
Dance, smiling me. Dance and smile into my heart. Whoa, whoa, wonderful. Dance and smile in me. Dance and smile into my heart. Whoa, whoa, wonderful. Whoa, 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 wonderful spirit. Whoa, whoa, wonderful spirit. What a beautiful meditation. So the last service I was moved to do the song I did. But after that message, I moved to do this song. Okay. Thank you. The name of the song is Connect. It took a long time for me to write this song. It was my healing song, you know, and that's what art does. It allows us to express and to be better when it's done, hopefully. And this song was never done. It was like, you know, I had the music, but the words. And then one day I got a call from a young man that said, Mama Rickie, I want to meet with you and pray with you. And I was like, okay, I don't want to pray with you. I wasn't a practitioner. I wasn't trying to do that, you know. But my daughter said, you might want to pray with him. He got the Oscar last year for the Song of the Year. So maybe it would be a songwriter with benefits, you know. So he came over and we prayed. And then I was like, since you're here, you know, I got this song I've been trying to finish. And we finished it in 45 minutes. Took another 2 weeks to really refine it, but we finished it, you know. So I want to share it today. It's called Connect. Connect When love is free, we connect and let go of the mask and bear ourselves to the love that is here and where are we when we lose touch? I feel you so much, but where are you now? Let's get connected somehow before the sun goes down. All that is in nature and in all creation celebrates more love to come, and love is changing every season. Flowers need the rain and sun to smile again. Connect. When love is free, we connect and let go of the mask and share ourselves in the love that is here before the sun goes down. Connect, connect. Let's get connected somehow. Connect, connect. Let's get connected somehow. Oh, connect, connect. Let's get connected somehow. Connect, connect. Let's get connected somehow. Connect. I gotta get connected. Connect. Let's stay connected somehow. Connect. Oh, connect. Let's get connected somehow. Before the sun goes down. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I get why you chose that song. Beautiful vulnerability. Thank you, Rickie. That's what it's all about. That's what today's all about. I'm like so in my heart right now. Are you? It's like, are you having that feeling? Yeah, thank you. Thank you both, David and Rickie and the band and Lisa and Tyler and all that you've done to bring this beauty to us last night and today and this wonderful music to open our hearts. So we're on this journey of spiritual leadership, and today's the stop in rumbling with vulnerability. So I like to give everybody the heads up, so in case you want to make a quick exit, You can. I know we all want to. So I was thinking about the zillions of times in my life I felt vulnerable, and I landed on one to share with you about when I was 22, and I was working at Ogilvy and Mather Public Relations, and it was my first time of giving a presentation, and in the room were my team members, and we were account execs, and the others were the creatives, which is so crazy, you know how we do that separating, labeling thing. And then there were, other supervisors and so on. But my primary supervisor was in the room. Her name was Leah. And I already had in my head, I was pretty new at this, but I had in my head this tape that Leah thinks I'm stupid because she said something about Goethe, the German philosopher, and I said, "Who's Goethe?" And she was just aghast. I mean, like, what? How do you not know who Goethe is? You know, how sometimes people have that kind of reaction and then you internalize, oh my God, I should know her. I went and read about it, right away. And at that time it was a read about it, not a, read about it. And so anyway, so there I am in this moment. So I give my presentation. It's okay, I'm through it. I'm ready to sit down. I'm very anxious to sit down. It's like, whew, okay, got that over the first, and then she had the gall to ask questions. Oh my gosh. And I tell you, I was in such a, I'm done, and like the armor is going up now, you could just kind of feel it snapping into place, that I could not mentally compute her question. I mean, I could not take it in. I was that armored up. I was that self-conscious. And so I had to ask her to repeat it like 3 times, and I don't know what I said some flubby answer that made no sense for what her question was, I think, and finally I just slunk into my chair, And here I was, a communications major in college, So I had that to add to the whole thing that was going on in my head, right? But the point was that, I felt so vulnerable. And we can't do anything with that except for either shut down and armor up or step in and embrace it. Had I had the skills, better skills that I have now, to be able to go in at that moment, to feel what was going on, and to be with it and give it a little bit of comfort, I could have been very much present with the rest of what was going on there. But I just didn't know at the time, and that's how I knew how to deal with vulnerability. So it was total silence, like pin drop silence. Finally, one young man raised his hand. He said, "No, ma'am, 3 tours. It's not possible. Everything I've seen," he said, "when it takes courage, it takes massive amounts of vulnerability to work through." That's the truth, right? So we can think it's weak, but that's just our ego trying to, dance around it. The truth is, it's just a part of our experience along the way. It's uncomfortable, which is why we try to cover it up. But by its very nature, there is an uncomfortable experience there. The thing is, the more versed we get at this, the more ease we get with meeting up with these emotional blocks, the easier it becomes. Now, we might get bigger things coming along, but we're more practiced at it. And why do we want to do that? Again, because underneath whatever it is that we're blocking emotionally is the spirit. So the emotions come up and they point the way for us. The emotions are the juice of our prayers, right? The emotions are also the blocks when they are in this realm of fear, discomfort, and so on. And so this first one, Brene has spoken to all kinds of audiences of various groups. So, corporate executives, CEOs, teachers, activists, artists, clergy, all kinds of groups. And she said she always asks that question and she always gets no response. Because nobody can think of a single time where they have witnessed an act of courage where vulnerability hasn't been present. As Marianne Morrissey said, there's no successful person who succeeds in the absence of fear. It's the presence of fear that is a part of the success. It's a part of the process. It's a part of our success in unleashing the truth of who we are. The second myth is, I don't do vulnerability. Yeah, lucky you. Or unlucky you, really. Because if you don't do vulnerability, then you have to be shut down, and it's actually really not possible not to do vulnerability. I mean, I guess it is if you just sort of live in a very safe, sort of contained, hidden kind of way. It might be somewhat possible some of the time to not do vulnerability. But essentially, something is going to come along sometime in your life. You're going to be in a hospital bed, or you're going to be next to somebody you love who's in a hospital bed, or somebody's going to break your heart, or you're going to love somebody who doesn't love you in the same way and says, you know, those famous words of, oh, I love you too, as a friend. Oh, you know, it's like, oh. So there's that, you know, there's those moments, right, that we are definitely going to feel that, but we might have this myth, this idea, this belief that I don't do vulnerability. So I was in my kitchen one day with my friend Robin and her friend Catherine, and they started talking about this experience that they do at these retreats. And Catherine had been doing them for a long time, and they help people break through these boards. And I love that kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh, cool, can I do it? She's like, yeah. So she runs to her car to get it, and we're standing in my kitchen, and she's telling me, okay, now you write on one side of the board what you're afraid of, and on the other side what you want to break through into what's like kind of your release statement and your affirmation. It's like an affirmative prayer right there in the board, you know. And so, and then, you know, you just kind of get ready and you get yourself in the mindset of I can do this, and then you just, you know, give it a good karate chop. And so I'm, you know, it's this thick. The board is this thick. So, you know, you don't look at it and say, oh yeah, I'm going to just chop through that. No worries, right? So I'm thinking, you know, Catherine's, Robin's done it. Tons of people have done it in these seminars. I can do this. And so I'm all ready to go, and I get, you know, they're holding the board for me, and they're like, you can do it. And, oh, that hurt. Like a lot hurt, you know. So I was just kind of rubbing my hand, and my mind starts spinning, right? Because all these people have done it. And this is like a mind over matter thing. I mean, this is sort of like proving my worthiness as a spiritual being, you know? And now I'm in ministerial school, so there's all that stuff going too, that you're supposed to be, right? You're supposed to get it. You're supposed to be an example. So if I can't be the example and all these people are going to be in these seminars, you know, I can go, right? I won't bring you down that hole with me. So I get ready again, and it's like I'm coming from this real bravado kind of ego place, like, oh, I can do this, you know, kind of thing. Yeah, and it's about strength, right? So this is sort of athleticism and strength. So I'm coming from that, oh, that one actually just really hurt my hand just now. I didn't really mean to hurt myself, but that like hit a nerve or something. So, well, that's appropriate. So now I feel the hurt. But it was going inside, right? Then I had to kind of pull back and go, okay, what's going on? And it's there. It's there in that tender place that we find it, right? It's there that we find what blocks us. It's there that we find what stops us. In fact, I think I had on the other side, nothing stops me. Clearly something was stopping me, right? But it was here, not here. It has nothing to do with the physical. You know, it has nothing to do with, these are the outer representations of what it is that is possible in us. But it's this that was blocking. And so once I could get into, I see, I'm comparing, I'm afraid. I've got all these fears running about how I'm showing up or what I'm able to do. And so once I could embrace that, guess what? Like paper. I swear to goodness, it was like paper. It was nothing. It was like, boom, wow, that was so easy. I can't believe the board is broken. It was that kind of feeling, right? And it's the same in our lives. It's the same in our emotional experiences. It's the same when vulnerability is present in whatever things that are up in our lives. If we can just dip into it, give it a little attention, recognize what's going on, it's gone. Everything's opened up. The doors to our heart fly back open. We're ready to love. We're ready to give. We're ready to serve. We're ready to be who we have come to be. Our spiritual work is a lot more about removing blocks than anything else. because it's already there. We're already it. We're already completely all that we have come to be. We just haven't realized it yet because we've set up all the obstacles. And vulnerability is slapped onto every one of those obstacles. And so if we can just embrace it, allow it, be with it, recognize it, a universal human emotion, we all experience this. And the more we are called, every time we are called up to do something greater, it's going to be there. It's going to be present. And it becomes a friend after a while. Madeleine L'Engle, the children's author, said that when we're children, do you know Madeleine L'Engle? Wrinkle in Time and a bunch of other classics. Somebody just said another one. Oh, okay. Okay, talk to David. I loved Wrinkle in Time growing up. So anyway, she says that, when we're young, we think that getting to be a grown-up is that you grow up out of your vulnerability, right? Don't you think that when you're a kid? You think, wow, I remember watching my mom open a jar and thinking, like, oh my God, she's like a goddess. She's like, I could never do that, just those kinds of things that we just think somehow that when we're going to be like Superman and Superwoman when we grow up, and we can't wait to get there. And then we get there, and guess what? We're like a little kid in a big person's body, Nothing's really changed that much emotionally, but it can as we accept, as we become wise. So Madeleine L'Engle says, really, what it is to grow up is to accept vulnerability. That's the growing up. The third myth is I can go it alone. Anybody ever grabbed onto that one? That used to be a favorite of mine, the rugged individualist idea. Yes, we can do this. I still think, I always say this, but it's like very much woven into the American spirit, isn't it? This idea of rugged individualism. We really praise this idea that we can, climb the mountain, hit the peak, go to the next peak. There's sort of that kind of sense of romanticizing that individualism. And yet we need each other. I mean, we are neurologically, socially, emotionally, hormonally wired to be social species. We need each other. We must, this is the resurgence of the divine feminine. A big part of that is about the hunger to collaborate, to belong, to connect. I mean, The Mask You Live In is a great example of that movie about young boys and young men being completely cut off from their emotional nature is a cry out for this, right? A cry for the feminine within all of us that connects, that collaborates, that is heart to heart and soul to soul. So another military story, and this is also the Air Force, Colonel Dee Dee Halfhill, this is told in the book Dare to Lead, that Colonel Dee Dee Halfhill was in charge of, one of her jobs was innovation and leadership development, and she had 33,000 troops that were a part of the program that she oversaw. One day she was meeting with maybe more like 60 of them, just a small group, and she was explaining some things, presenting some things, and one young man raised his hand and he said, ma'am, when are things the tempo, they call it the ops tempo, when's it gonna slow down a bit? We're really tired. I'm really tired. And then she said, yeah, I know, I keep hearing that. Everyone I talk to, every time I give a presentation, I hear about how tired everybody is. She said, how many of you feel tired? Every hand flies up, So there's this sense of just kind of collective exhaustion, right? And she just sort of off the cuff remembers this Harvard Business Review article she just read about loneliness and how they had gone into these corporations where people kept reporting how exhausted they were, and as they did the research, they found out they weren't tired. Well, they were tired, but it was on top of the reason why they were tired was because they felt lonely. And she asked, how many of you feel lonely, thinking maybe one person would be brave enough to raise their hand, and about 15 hands shot up. And then she didn't know what to do, and she felt vulnerable, right? Because what does she do with that? It's like, what do you do with it when everybody's telling you they feel lonely? And as leaders, if they would have addressed the exhaustion amongst those folks in the military or in the corporation, what they would have said is take more time off, right? Take time away, be by yourself, go rest. That's not going to work if really what you're feeling is lonely, right? What you need if you feel lonely is connection. What you need if you feel lonely is a sense that we're in this together. We have a sense of hope. We're working together toward the same mission. We miss families or whatever it may be, and able to talk about that. So getting to the right words as a leader is really important. She said that was one of the main things she learned from this work. Dee Dee said from doing this Dare to Lead work was getting the right words is really important. She was working with another person who said, oh, right, I talk to the guys about being disconnected all the time. She said, why do you use that word? She said, that's so sterile. Why don't you say lonely? Lonely is what they feel. You can feel the difference, right? Disconnect is like a little bit, it's kind of getting there, but it's not really the feeling. The feeling is lonely. It's hard to admit because it's vulnerable, right? It feels vulnerable to say I'm lonely. And so putting that out there and then seeing what can we now do together really resolves the bottom line issue. This kind of bleeds into the next myth, which is you can engineer the uncertainty and discomfort out of vulnerability. So what Dee Dee did was, because she got really curious about this, because she went back and reread the leadership manual from 2011 for this Air Force group, or for the Air Force period. And one of the core values was humanness, but it didn't say anything about what humanness was. And so she was like, what do they mean by humanness? So she started digging around, and it took her all the way back to a manual from 1948 for the Air Force. Completely different kind of manual. In that manual, they break down humanness. She said they talked about the importance of feeling 147 times in the manual. They talked about the sense of belonging 27 times. They used the word love 13 times. They used love and compassion and kindness and mercy and friendliness and fear. The 2011 manual, none of those words, just humanness. And the rest was about tactical operations, strategic operations. No wonder we have problems, right? We have tried to engineer uncertainty and discomfort out of vulnerability. It's not possible. We can't write it out. It's not possible. No wonder our boys and men are living in masks. No wonder our girls and women are living in masks. Because we've made it unsafe to be this way with each other, to be human with each other in our organizations, in our neighborhoods even, in our families even. We've made it not okay. So the engineering and of this also really touches on this area in the tech industry, right? Because the tech industry really has, as part of their design, to engineer out the systemic vulnerability in terms of like not letting people hack into the systems, right? So it's more from an artificial intelligence and from a technology standpoint. You don't want systematic vulnerability in that way. You don't want your technology to be vulnerable. But it's easy to get that confused with relational vulnerability. And so for those of you who work in tech or know people who work in tech, this might be sort of a foreign concept because we're so geared toward trying to keep the system safe that we begin to keep ourselves and our relationships so armored up that we're not really open to this open-hearted way of being. And then the fifth myth is that trust comes before vulnerability. It's not really one or the other. It's like chicken and the egg, right? They just layer on top of each other. So it's like we trust somebody and we're more vulnerable with them. We start to become more vulnerable with somebody and they trust us more. You know, we start to be more vulnerable with ourselves and we trust ourselves more. We trust our spirit more. We trust the truth that comes forth more when we are more open in our prayers more. You know, if you start to have those sort of God is best friend kinds of prayers and just begin to kind of talk out what's going on for you or journal out what's happening, you begin to open up to some of those places where you might feel more vulnerable. So John Gottman is a researcher who wrote about some of his research and told this story on UC Berkeley's Greater Good website. And he says that one day he was reading a mystery novel. He was lying in bed and he had to get up and go to the bathroom, but he didn't even want to stop, right, to put it down because he thought he knew who the killer was and he was at that part, like toward the end of the novel. Anybody like get into novels and you're getting close to the end, whether it's mystery or not, you want to know how the story ends and you kind of have an idea in your mind of where it's going. And so he was at that point, right, that critical point. So, he's got to go to the bathroom. So he decides to leave his book there and he goes in the bathroom, and his wife is in the mirror brushing her hair, and she looks really sad. And he's like, oh, bummer. So he's got to like make a choice, right? And he's a researcher, so he knows. He calls these sliding door moments. So he's got a sliding door moment, right? He can build more trust and connection with his wife right now, or he could go finish his novel. And you know what he really wants to do, right? And so this is another choice point, right? In our relationships, sometimes in the moment we really want to do something different than what is being called for. I want empathy. What do you mean I got to give you empathy? So we get in those kinds of moments. And so as leaders, it's really important that we are aware of that, As leaders, it's as the prayer of St. Francis said, "Oh Lord, grant that I may not so much seek to be understood as to understand." It's one of those choice moments. And so he chooses the right thing. He goes over, he takes the brush out of his wife's hand, he starts brushing her hair and asking her what's going on. Probably didn't take that long. Probably wasn't that big of a delay for what it is that he was up to and wanted to finish. But it builds trust. It's those simple moments, those little moments, time after time after time, that build trust, that layer up trust, that allow us then to be more vulnerable, and then we're more vulnerable and we get more trust, and then, so on. So that's how the dance works there. So don't miss the small moments. And if you do, don't beat yourself up. It's okay. It's not like you have to hit every single moment. But when, just check in and see, this is a moment. I could take a moment now. I read somewhere at one point that, anytime somebody is calling our attention to something, it's a call for connection. I know there's been times when I'm like working on my computer and Brenly will say, "Oh, come look at this bird." And I hadn't thought about it as a call for connection. But now I think of it differently. Somebody is trying to, Grace is trying to show me something she made at school. I'm going to drop what I'm doing, and because it's a call for connection. And those are precious times, right? Those are precious moments that we don't want to miss, sliding door moments. So just start paying attention to the sliding door moments in your life and decide if you're going to stop and open that door, which is really this door, right? The door to your heart. And the sixth one is that vulnerability is disclosure. So a lot of times we get confused and think, vulnerability is just about like sort of putting it all out there, right? But there has to be some boundaries, especially professional boundaries if we're talking about work environments. And really boundaries are good anyway, right? No matter what kind of relationship we're talking about. But it's an art. It's an art finding where is the boundary for what I share. Does it just become sort of this blah or gossip or whatever it is if it's just full disclosure? Or is it more to a point? Why am I sharing and who am I sharing with? So when we're sitting in the seat of leader, what is to the purpose am I sharing this? So sharing some of your heart and some of your feelings and some of your concerns is connecting. But like laying it all out there sometimes is sort of just like, what do people do with that? It's sort of uncomfortable. Not uncomfortable like I'm vulnerable, like uncomfortable like boundaries have been crossed and it just doesn't feel right. So it's just finding our way, and the only way we find our way is to keep doing this stuff and making mistakes. We're going to make mistakes. Or whatever that's called. We're going to have times that we feel unskillful about what we have said or done, but that's all part of it, right? And we're not just leaders. Again, I want to remind you all, we're not talking about leaders like you lead an organization or you lead a team, but that you show up as a spiritual leader because you're a spiritual being on this journey. And so therefore, you're somebody who's practiced in trusting what goes on inside of you, in trusting your own body, and trusting your innate wisdom, and trusting Spirit to give you the words or the actions or what's next. And so that ability, that skill that is already woven into you makes you a spiritual citizen, and that makes you a spiritual leader wherever you go. As a neighbor, as a friend, as a mother or father or grandmother or grandfather, or however it is that you show up, there is an opportunity to be a leader, to lead the way and debunking these myths and opening up the doors and making connection. And all of that is key to us healing what ails us as a society, whether it be loneliness that leads to suicide or, the big stuff, or just moments of connection that make us feel more solid in our relationships. So 2 tools that I want to leave you with to take in working with vulnerabilities. One is the one I've already mentioned, which is spirit, right? We've always got this prayer, meditation, ability to go within available to us that will give us whatever we need, whatever nuggets of wisdom, next steps, right action, right words. It's all there. Or will reveal to us what's in the way, what's happening there that feels uncomfortable or fearful for us, that just needs some attention, some kindness, some love, some healing, so we can move through it. And the second thing is the square squad. This comes from Brene as well. If you want to create your square squad, all you do is make a little 1-inch square on a piece of paper and write all the names in there that you consider part of your square squad. Your square squad are the people whose opinions really matter. So, and to think about that, don't just throw all the names of your friends and family in automatically, but take a moment to really be with whose opinion really matters and who will call me up higher with integrity, who will share with me in an honest way, who loves me not in spite of my imperfections, but because of my imperfections, who really knows you and cares about you and wants you not to be necessarily in a role relationship, to be the very best of who you are. That's who goes in your square squad. So you may only have 1 or 2 names. And that's the place you can go back to when you're unsure, when you want a little check from somebody, a God with skin on, so to speak. You can go to the people in your square squad, and they'll tell you the truth, and they'll lift you up higher, and they'll help you through whatever it is that you're going through. So always have that little support team with you. You might cut it out in your 1-inch and keep it in your pocket or your wallet or whatever, so it's always with you. So the truth is that we are these spiritual leaders, and that we do have the ability, as Brene would say, to rumble with vulnerability within ourselves and with each other, to lean into the difficult conversations, to move through these times. And that's really what is called for in our world from each of you, from each of us as a spiritual leader. So let's really know this together. Let's close out just holding on to and lifting up this truth together, that we are indeed spiritual leaders, and we are ones who can rumble with vulnerability. And when we do so, we expose that divine magnificence that is waiting for us. Let's say it together. I am a spiritual leader who rumbles with vulnerability, exposing divine magnificence. And so it is.
Thank you, Kristen. And I encourage you this week to create your square squad, okay? So just put that on your to-do list. First thing Monday morning, you're going to have your square squad, okay? See how many names you can put in there. Most of us, that won't be very many. But I encourage you to look to see who calls you up and who is willing to call you up higher. Thank you, Kristen. We have prayer chaplains here that are available after the service to provide personal prayer support. So if you're a prayer chaplain serving today, would you please stand? Fantastic. My goodness. We have a whole plethora of prayer chaplains here today. So they're the ones wearing the lavender stoles. So if you have a joy or a concern on your heart today, praying with one of our prayer chaplains is a very precious way to have your intentions raised up in consciousness. Now it's time for our prosperity celebration. So let's open our hearts to the practice of giving. I invite you to prepare your gifts as we align with the universal law of circulation, which is, as we give, so shall we receive. Because already we know that there is no lack, there is no limitation, because abundance is already our true nature. For your convenience, there is a variety of ways that you can give to our community. For electronic giving, you can download a new app to us called Give, and it's spelled Gyve, even though it's pronounced give. So download that on your smartphone, or you can take an envelope from the clipboard in the seat pocket in front of you. For those of you at home, we don't forget about you. You can go to the watch live page and click on the donate button, or you can also download Give. That would be great. Now, as you have your tithes and your offerings in your hands, please repeat with me our blessing. Divine love, one with me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am joy-filled and grateful. Thank you for being here today. And Rickie, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Linda. So the song I'm going to do, but I just want to do a little bit of this song, and I go to that song. Okay, Lisa? Ode? Okay. Just because I love this song. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, I release, well,
I let go.
let the Spirit
The Spirit
run my life. And my
heart
heart
is open
open wide. Yes, I'm only. No more struggle. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, I release, well,
I let go.
let the Spirit. Oh, in my heart. Yes, I'm only here for God. No.
No more strife.
With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. And that's the song. And we did the whole song.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. The name of this song is In the Land of I Am. In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. In the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. And the songs of all my great grandmothers, the dreams of all all my great grandfathers, the way to rise beyond the pain. Oh, live, oh, live, oh, live in me, in the land of I am, more than I have been, I am, more than I will be, I am, all that I am. In the land of I am, more than I have been, I am, more than I will be, I am, all that I am. And the smiles of all the unborn children, and the dream of a better day to come, and the dance of heaven with the earth. All live, all live, all live in me, in the land of I am, more than I have been, more than I will be, I am, all that I am. In the land of I am, more than I have been, I am, more than I will be, I am, all that I am. In the land of I am, more than I have been, I am, more than I will be, I am, all that I am. In the land of I am, more than I have been, I am, more than I will be, I am, all that I am. The song to the ancestors. Thank you. Unity of Walnut Creek, I love you. Thank you, David Neal, Daniel, and Dusty.
Oh, wow. Here we are in the land of I am, Unity of Walnut Creek, and we celebrate the gifts, the abundance, the truth of who we are that is represented here. Let us bless it together. We give thanks for the ever-increasing, unceasing flow of absolute good in our lives now. So it is.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you? So are we. Who did we talk about today? We're doing a spiritual leadership series as well. And who did we talk about last week first? Anybody remember? Yeah? Gandhi, right? That's right. And who did we talk about today? Who was it? Anybody remember Mother Teresa? Yeah? And she said, what did Mother Teresa say? She was a woman who taught us compassion, and she said, hold up your sign. Do
Hold it up high so we can all see it.
small things with great love.
Awesome.
Great job, guys. Great job. Thank you.
Oh, that is beautiful. Thank you for that message. Let's bless our teachers and children together. Children, youth, and teachers, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divine light within you. So I invite you now to take your neighbor's hand if you feel comfortable doing so as we close out with our prayer of protection and our peace song. Together, the light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The love of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine. The light and the love and the peace on earth right now. So let your light shine and have fun.